Hey, my name is Linda Blacker and I'm a portrait photographer and self-portrait photographer. I create scenes in my work which are both digital and physical sets. And today I want to talk to you about how you can elevate your portraiture with set design. In this video I want to take you on a journey with me from the initial idea of my set design all the way to the photo shoot and actually bringing the set to life. Set design can be something as small as just hanging some different fabrics behind you or having a play with simple props you have around your home, or it can be a full-blown set build. Last year I actually did a shoot where I photographed a doll's house and then in post-production put like mini versions of myself as a doll in the doll's house. I like the doll theme, so I wanted to do kind of larger set where the doll escapes. Often I like to start with a drawing to get a good idea of what I'm going to be doing in real life and kind of work from that. When I'm at this point, I like to think about like all the different elements and components that are going to make up my set. So when I'm drawing it, I'm also thinking about the color palette, who the model's going to be, what the model's going to wear, where they're going to be in the image, and also my lighting. It doesn't mean you can't change it around when you actually do the shoot, but I think to have that idea at the start really helps go from your planning to bringing it to life. If you just focus on the set design and then don't think about what your model's going to look like, what her styling's going to be and where she's going to go, then it can be a bit mixed match and make it quite difficult. I think there's three main things I like to think about. Planning. To plan is very important when you're, going to be the photographer and the set designer. Being adaptable. So when I'm working on stuff, things doesn't always work out, things go wrong. You kind of just have to be flexible. And then finally experimenting. So this time I decided I wanted to build a doll's house, like the exterior of a doll's house. There's times when maybe I wouldn't have wanted to do that, but it's really important to kind of experiment and push yourself a little bit because you don't know what you're gonna be able to create. After I've got my initial idea and I know where I'm heading, I like to start thinking about materials, props, where I'm going to find them, what I'm going to use. I think you can do this in different ways. I think it depends on your budget, it depends on what you have access to, so don't be worried about thinking that you've got to find all these amazing things. So for this set, I decided that I want to have my backdrop made up from a dust sheet. They're really easy to get. You can paint on quite easily. When I do that, it means I can create a completely unique background to me. You can paint them messy and it can still look really cool. You can add in loads of colors. I really think you don't need like technical or artistic skills to do it, to be honest. Like I literally think about the color I want to create, get a few paints. It's not specific, I'm literally just playing with color. And I really think a lot of people can have fun with it and create like really unique backdrops for them. I also suggest having a play with bed sheets. You can do it in your house, you can do it in your garden. I've done shoots in my kitchen, my lounge that you wouldn't necessarily know having done those spaces. I really think that set design can be adaptable to your needs and your budget. So once I have the scene in mind, I start thinking about props. So often I will go to charity shops. I find that can be really, really handy, really, really affordable, and you can find some really like aesthetic, cool stuff. Also, stuff around your own home. The rocking chair was something that I ended up finding it on an online marketplace really, really affordably, literally just down the road from me, which is great. But also in addition to that, I wanted to get the rocking horse if it was kind of within budget and wasn't something that was too difficult to get. I was really pleased that I could get both those items because I think having both means that today I can have a play around, because sometimes until you're actually there on the shoot, you don't really know what's going to work best. The third thing is actually being able to make your own props. I thought that it would be quite fun to kind of make my own doll's house and have that as part of the set. I made this from wood, 2 side panels, front panel, and then a roof. I also used a block of wood for the chimney, of course. I literally stuck on some dried moss. I painted most of the house using a sponge because I kind of wanted that cement texture. Before, when I had the idea, I was like, that's gonna be really difficult. And then I did it, and afterwards I was like, oh, I'm so happy with it, and I couldn't stop looking at it. I was like, yes, I did it. I've got a smoke machine, like a small one for like school discos, and I've attached it to the back of the chimney, and then when I want the smoke in the shot, I just press up. So I think it's quite effective, so I'm really, really happy with how it looks. I definitely recommend having a play with creating your own props and seeing what's possible. So now I'm going to start bringing together the set. When I'm putting together the set, the backdrop was maybe a little bit strong in colour than I planned originally, but I know that in post-production, I'm going to reduce that and play around. I like to arrive before everyone else so I can really have a play with the set and also account for when something might go wrong, because that does happen. So to have that time is really, really helpful, and it kind of takes the pressure off you. These are the clothes that I'm going to have my model in. When I was thinking of the idea for the shoot, this dress came into my mind. I actually have this from like a shoot that I did previously. I always like to kind of reuse stuff and maybe see it in a different way. So I've got this dress, which I think is quite escaped doll, in my mind anyway. So can I get you to come over here for me? When first planning for the shoot, I really think about the styling of the model, who the model's going to be, and all those elements, and also where the model's going to place in the shoot. Exactly what you're doing, just shuffle this way a little bit. That's it, you're such a doll. That's it, I love it. Okay, one more time, just chin up and like a face. Perfect. So I tend to prefer to use a zoom lens. So I'm using the EF24-70 2.8L lens, the Mark II. It's my favorite lens. Prime lenses are super popular and they are great for many different things. But for me, how I work, I prefer just to work with a zoom because it just gives me the option of when you've got a set, sometimes you want to zoom in, sometimes you want to zoom out, sometimes you want a wider view, sometimes you want to bring stuff in, bring stuff out. So having a lens that can be flexible at the same time, for me, is just really, really handy. Turn your head towards me a little bit more, a bit straighter, that's it. And then that's it. Like you're surprised that you've just escaped the doll's house. I do think about the lighting from the start because I think it's a massive part of the final picture. For me, I like to use studio lights, but also, natural light can be really, really beautiful, especially when you bring in like a reflector. I've done many fun portrait shoots outside, playing with sunlight. You just have to be really conscious of what time of day you're shooting, but you can have really, really different results. And there's also stuff like, using lamps or torches. I did a shoot for a client. I had all my lights, all my studio lights, and I was trying to create like moonlight falling in through a window, but it just looked rubbish. And I was like, oh no, what do I do? And then I literally picked up a torch and it was just so much more effective. So I really think that you don't have to worry about, once you've done all this like amazing set design, you haven't got the means to light it because there's so many different things you can do and it can be super, super flexible. A little bit higher. So as I'm shooting and as I'm looking at the final images, I'm really thinking about post-production. So I like to have a really clear idea of what I want the final images to look like. Having said that, it's always good to be adaptable and that can change. So I like that. Oh, that's I kind of think I prefer it, the last shot. Do you know what, I've got that, I like that shot, I'm happy. So we've just finished the shoot, it went really, really well. It's always really fun when you've designed a set to actually see it when it's brought together and actually see it in front of the camera. So that was really, really fun and I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. I was really happy that I decided to get both the rocking chair and the rocking horse. I think having both options was really, really important because I was able to get shots with both. Actually diversified the images really well. I'm really pleased that for this idea, I decided to create a set. The setting provides like a context to the story. It builds up a story that perhaps I wouldn't have been able to have achieved with like just a plain backdrop. So for me, it really helped take the idea that I had in my mind to the next level and complete the initial vision. So I hope today you can see how accessible set design is if it's something that you haven't yet tried. The fun thing about being able to create your own sets is that you don't need access to a big studio for a shoot like this. You can easily make a set in your living room or even in your garden. I think that it's important to remember that set design can be something simple and it can also be something really, really complex. It's really up to you what you want to do, how far you want to take it. You can start anywhere. You can really make it your own. Try not to be intimidated because every idea starts somewhere. Have an idea and give it a go and have confidence in yourself because you never know what you might create.